Greetings, intrepid trumpet players. Here we are again, looking at some of Mr. Nathan Ost's lip flexibilities. This is volume 2 and number 11. And now I've run into a challenge here. This one clips along at a pretty rapid pace, and I'll do my best for you, but this is probably going to take a little bit more practice and for me to be in a little bit better physical condition than I am right now. I've been mentioning I just got out of the hospital and I'm just starting to recover. Today's the first day where I haven't had significant pain, so that's good. But you know, when you're a trumpet player, especially a professional player, you just have to do the job. Nobody cares what you're feeling or what your problems are, whether you have relational difficulties or had a traffic accident on the way to the concert, or you have to play with the same level of quality every day. So that's a performance mindset. Today we're going to be working more in a practice mindset, I think, but I'll do what I can for you. So here's number 11. Now, I took that a little bit under the marked tempo, and I didn't quite get into groove with it. Now, you can tell it's pretty complicated, and I'm not doing these videos to demonstrate my competence, and I hope that's pretty obvious to you, but, but actually to help you discover, along with me, what's going to help me to play the trumpet better. So the issue that comes up with something like this is it moves pretty rapidly. The notes are changing, you're changing range fairly rapidly. You're changing intervals going both up and down pretty quickly. All those things add to the difficulty. So those of you who've been playing for a while and have studied with good teachers, and you might have heard the phrase center the notes. Some people call it slotting the notes. Centering a note is a good thing. People talk about the sweet spot. The place where the note vibrates most freely in the horn. The problem is when you're playing stuff that's this fast and moves this quickly through the range and requires a fair amount of agility, then it's hard to stay in the center of the notes. And when we fail to stay in the center of the notes, we end up holding on physically a little bit. And that's what I felt when I moved through. So one of the first things I want to do is make sure that I can hear properly. If I just play it over and over again, it might improve a little bit, but what I'm trying to hear is the path, and that means I need to hear the intervals. So again, if you've been watching these videos, you know that I take a very similar approach in terms of building the skills necessary in order to have a good sense of competence when playing, confidence when playing, and also give a good result to folks who are listening. So this one requires a little work. So the first thing I notice is I've got almost 2 octaves, an octave and a half of range, sometimes moving very quickly. And of course, you can see that on the page. You'll notice that. What's the point? If I'm blowing evenly and not manipulating with my body, with my throat, my tongue, my face, mouthpiece pressure, and so forth, just flowing evenly, I'm looking for the path of the resonant sweet spot that goes through one note and into the next note. So I'm not thinking about playing individual notes. As a matter of fact, on this, one of the things that I notice, since I don't do a lot of sight reading practice, is I need to keep my eyes moving forward because it goes by quickly. Something that helps with that is even though you see the individual dots and they seem to be jumping around fairly rapidly, you're still playing a general direction. So trying to simplify it, so saying, oh, if I'm playing up and down a scale, oh, that's easy. Then I say that part's easy. The next part, see, there's a lot of tight turns in there, and yet I want it to feel just as easy as the scale. So for most of us, slow practice is going to be the first thing to do. When you practice this slowly, allow yourself time to stabilize until you're not playing the individual notes like dee-da, stable, da-dee, a little tight, oh, it's okay, da-dee, better, dee, oh, a little bit unfocused, uncentered. That's some of the stuff that I'm noticing when I'm playing this. It's very distracting. So what I want to sharpen the target that I'm aiming for in my mind. And the target is very simple. That sweet spot where you're always staying in the sweet spot, moving from one note into the next. And moving is the key word. So notice something from the composition here. So in the spot where it goes, and then the big slur, 2 octaves. Okay, now what I want you to notice here is when I just go ya-da-dum, I'm ignoring the fact that I'm going to have to go back and forth. That's because I want it to feel like I was moving in generally one direction, from the middle register into the low register. And practicing your fundamentals, your work on arpeggios and scales, fundamental drills that you do for basic skills, these are the prerequisites for playing this comfortably. So what I do is take a little exercise like this and turn it into simpler forms of exercises and then practice those. Transpose it into different keys, try it at different speeds, try it at different dynamics, try it with various articulation. Now I'm taking this material and expanding it to a tremendous amount of variety, but actually I'm playing the same material just with variations. And so I become familiar with it, my ear learns it better, which helps, obviously. And at the same time, I'm challenging myself to do all these more and more complicated things. So sometimes those things will be easier. If I articulated this, it might be easier than slurring in some instances. So I'm strongly encouraging you to take that approach. I'll do it right now. I'm going to play it now instead of just playing it at a mezzo forte level. There are no dynamics marked. So I would do a dynamic variation. So now I'm getting a gesture that goes in a single direction, and I'm starting to taste that sense of balance between the notes. And this is where all our work is. If you look at something that's very similar to trumpet playing, because it requires tremendous athletic ability and supreme sense of balance and where your body is in space, is gymnastics. Now, of course, any sport, you can learn from any sport, and many of you who do sports or various kinds of physical activity, you can extrapolate from those activities, no matter what they are. I had one woman came in, and she's a professional player from Canada, took one lesson with me. And sometimes I ask new clients, I said, well, what do you do, for physical activity? Do you do any fitness things? Do you do any sports? She said, no. And I said, you don't do anything at all? She said, does ballroom dancing count? And I said, yeah, that's a perfect one. Because you're moving in time with grace to music. It's like, that's perfect. So what we're really trying to do is get a sense of dance when we're working here. Now, I know there are a lot of technical difficulties with this. This would take me a long time to put it together until I could do a masterful performance of it. But I hope I'm giving you a little bit of an idea of how to work on this. And the big issues are change in range, change in direction. The big approach is keep your ears on the sound for always maintaining that balance in the quality of the sound. And physically, that everything is as stable as possible. Just like that gymnast who might do a full layout, somersaults, twists of various kinds in the air and stick the landing. That's similar to what we're trying to do here. So we have to give ourselves time to learn the simpler forms first. So I think that gives you an idea. I'm not even going to try the second one because it goes up to the D, which normally is a pretty, I can say thankfully, is a pretty comfortable note for me, but I'm not really in shape to be playing in that range without tending to squeeze and push a little bit. So I'm going to avoid that for now. So that'll give you a little time to go and practice. And I hope that you've gotten something out of this session that you can take into your practice. Go do that now. I'll do the same, and we'll talk again some other time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.